We got another guest today, Noah Juarez. Welcome to Decoding Social Life, my friend.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, super glad to have you here today in our podcast. And before we get started, why don't you give a quick intro about yourself?
Well, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
We just met yesterday.
Yeah.
But my name is Noah Juarez. Currently, I'm a director of security. So today, I'll just come out here and just talk about what I do and how I got here.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we're excited to have you
here in LA.
Big responsibility. It's tough. So we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about your other experiences in the industry as well. I know you do like other gigs as well, and you've worked with some high level people as well.
Yes.
So I guess we can just dive right into it. I mean, do you want to start?
No, I mean, the only thing I was about to say is what inspired you to get into this industry?
Honestly, I didn't know that I was gonna get into this industry when I first started. When I got out of high school, I was still kind of figuring that out. I wasn't so good at school, really. So I was really just working, and it started off as me just getting like a normal job in security as a security officer. So my first job in security was actually for Fox Cable Networks.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, it's not far. It's like by the 405. Honestly, I've passed by there not so long ago, and they took the logo off. I don't know if it's not there anymore, but it was called Fox Cable Network. So I started off there as a guard, and I didn't necessarily grow a passion for this industry right away, but I did like how I had access to the environment of Fox Cable Networks. I thought that was really cool, and there I got to learn a lot as far as procedures, because security at different places is always different, but we all have like a common, like procedures are always tailored, but they're all kind of the same to an extent at every place. Every site has different little rules, but some procedures are always the same. I was looking at Fox. It was really cool, and I got to learn a lot. And unfortunately, though, they were looking to reduce their staff, like they were cutting hours and stuff. And since I was the newest, they let me go. I didn't do nothing wrong. It was just that they wanted to keep seniority a thing. They wanted to keep the older people who had been there longer. So unfortunately, I got let go. And I remember that I was very not upset, but I would say I was disappointed. I was disappointed because I liked it there. But they told me they were gonna give me another position somewhere else, because it's not like I got fired or anything.
Gotcha.
But it took too long, so I took it upon myself to find a position. So I went online. I applied for another company, and that company is called Guard Systems Incorporated.
Oh, okay.
So Guard Systems Incorporated is the company that I work for right now.
Nice.
So the second job I ever worked for in security was for Guard Systems Incorporated. The acronym is GSI, and it was just like a front desk job. It was just a front desk job, but I took it upon myself to learn more. My security director at that site, he told me, he's like, hey, watch out for this supervisor, because if you let him, he's gonna have you do his job for him. It was like periodic patrols that the supervisors had to do at the site.
Gotcha.
And he told me, if you want to stretch your legs, you can leave that front desk and do one of his patrols, but don't let him take advantage of you. So that's what I did. I took it upon myself to learn a little bit of the role of a supervisor, just because I didn't want to stay at the desk for 8 hours. So I learned those patrols, and luckily for me, I had two supervisors, because it was 5 days. So like 3 days I was with one supervisor, 2 days I was with another.
Nice.
One of the supervisors that I had, she wanted to go back to the medical field. So my security director, he knew he needed someone to fill those shoes. And he thought, who better than someone who knows how to already kind of do it. So, and this was just after 3 months of working at this site. So, in a way, I always say, it's not that I'm a hotshot. I just got lucky. I got lucky that an opportunity opened up.
Yeah.
and I already took initiative to learn a little bit there. So he took a chance on me, and I ended up being there for a full year. But I felt stagnant. I wanted to continue growing. I didn't yet know what I wanted to do, but I wanted to keep growing.
Yeah.
And so since it kind of fell on my lap, this leadership role with GSI, I was like, why not keep growing in this industry? It was an idea. Why not keep growing in this industry? Why not work at different environments and just be a sponge, learn, you know? So that's what I did. I stayed part-time as a supervisor just because I wanted to keep that job in case the opportunity that I wanted next didn't work out. I could lean on GSI.
Gotcha.
At this, it was a corporate building office that I was working at. So I that is in fact what I did. I applied with other companies, and I started working security at an all-girls school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was a Catholic school. And that was very interesting. It was a lot different from what I was used to at Fox Cable Networks, and then this corporate building with GSI. It was very different. So, I just, long story short, I kept seeing opportunity and growth after expanding my experience, expanding my knowledge. And long story short, that's kind of how I'm here today.
Okay.
I just took advantage of the opportunities, and I just focused on improvement.
What do you like about security?
Well, one thing I like about security is I like talking with people. I like working with people. I take pride in being that guy that people can rely on.
Yeah.
So that's kind of ultimately why I like being in a leadership role, because I want people to have a good leader in place that's gonna be supportive towards them. I've worked security at a lot of places that it wasn't the best management.
Yeah.
It wasn't the best leadership. I've experienced bad leadership. I experienced management that don't treat their people right. And so because of that inspired me to kind of polish myself up to be the type of leader that I would want. Someone that's respectful, someone that is supportive. Because I've also had leadership that they'll nitpick the smallest things, and they'll get very excessive about it. And I had leadership that have made me feel bad. You know, so because of that,
how would you define the work culture of all those branches, all those companies you worked at? The work culture between employees, and you were saying the leadership. Is there a power dynamics over there, or is it just everyone is open to their own opinions and stuff?
Well, when it comes to being a supervisor, sometimes that power can get to someone's head.
Yeah.
And, they'll abuse it, or they won't take the proper action. They'll take excessive action, or they'll use an approach that makes guards not feel okay. I'm not gonna say that I've had only bad leadership. I had great leadership too. So good leadership, I wanted to learn that so that I can, take on those qualities. And bad leadership, I wanted to learn that so that I don't be that way, and I don't ever make a guard feel or a security officer feel the way I've been felt. At the same time, though, I've learned in this position, especially the position I'm currently at, no matter how respectful you are, no matter how supportive you are, you can't please everybody.
Yeah.
When you're enforcing protocols, enforcing rules, people are gonna get nasty sometimes because they feel targeted, maybe in a sense, or that's the main thing.
Yeah.
They feel targeted, and I try to explain all the time that I'm just doing my job.
Yeah.
My job is to make sure that everyone is doing their job. If people aren't doing their job, the company or the client is gonna consider that I'm not fit for my position. So ultimately, I'm gonna get in trouble, or I'm gonna lose my job if I don't make sure that everyone is doing their job. So it's hard to please everybody. I've learned that over the last years, is that it's hard to please everybody. You could be doing everything right, but people sometimes don't take constructive criticism the right way. no matter how respectful you talk to people, no matter how many chances you give people, you know, you have to set boundaries. Otherwise, it's gonna be like a jungle, you know? People are gonna do whatever they want, you know?
Yeah. So is that one of the things that is hard about as being a manager, is that you have to you got to watch over all these different people and stuff like that? Has that been kind of difficult for you, or?
It's been
you're a good guy for that job, but that gets difficult at times, right? So talk about that.
I would say it definitely gets challenging, you know, because you can't be everybody's friend, you know? Like, I definitely strive to build a good relationship with all the members on my team. That's a big goal of mine, because I kind of try to establish, you have my back, I have your back. You do a great job, you fulfill the expectations, I'll have your back. You need a day off one day, you know, you need me to accommodate you in some way, you need to leave early on a certain day, but I'm not gonna want to accommodate someone that is not putting in the effort. So I try to establish a relationship where, like, hey, you know, you do your job, I do mine, we can work together. I don't want an environment that is
hostile.
I don't seek for that. And sometimes it's the guards that make things hostile. And so after addressing these hostile situations with a guard, some guards aren't worth keeping anymore, because sometimes it's a liability situation. Sometimes they will.
Like, if you screw up one time, that's it, right? You can't be the kind of guy who's like giving second chances to people.
It depends.
You know?
It depends on the severity of the situation. Depending on the situation, I give people chances. But what I don't appreciate is having to correct the same issue. That just shows that someone is lacking commitment to do their job, you know? And people need to remember sometimes that you're being paid to do X, Y, and Z. People sometimes, they think I'm just trying to give them a hard time. But no, it's just, I'm gonna get in trouble if it's being seen that I'm being too lenient. That's another thing. So I can't be too lenient. I have to make the right balance. You know, I have to multitask, and I have to be supportive whenever somebody needs something. And sometimes I have to be Johnny on the spot. I have to show up right away. Depending on how serious the situation is, someone might need me right away for some backup. So, you know, it's been I wouldn't say it's been difficult, but I've faced some obstacles, but I'm learning how to overcome them. My main thing is, I know I have to be fair. I know that I can't show prejudice. You got to be fair, because the last thing I want is for someone to complain about me and for them to be right. You know, that I'm wrong. I want to make sure I'm doing things right, as if this was my business. I care about my reputation. You know,
that's a good mindset. I like that, thinking about it like it's your business, even though it's not, but it is, right? But I know you care, and I appreciated that about you.
Yeah, thank you.
Talk about, let's change it up a little bit. Let's talk about, like, how do you address like a dangerous situation? Or tell us some stories about, have you ever, like, something where you had, you know, a guy with a gun, or how do you know, talk about some scary stuff that you've encountered as working in this space?
So, you know, every environment is different. This is a movie studio. I've worked at schools. I've worked at a federal facility at LAX. And I've worked in nightlife, like nightclubs. So the most craziest stories that I have is working at a nightclub and working in that nightlife environment.
Tell us those stories. Let's hear it.
Oh yeah, I have a few.
Okay.
I've heard someone say bouncers have the best stories, and I can give a testimony to that. It's true, you know. It's totally true, because we deal with you know, trying to minimize liability, but it's hard when there's alcohol involved, because that changes people's character, you know? It might make people more aggressive. It might make people commit decisions that they shouldn't, you know? So working in nightlife, I've encountered some crazy situations with weapons being involved.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So for one instance, I have like more than one story, but you know, one story that I would like to share right now for sure. There was one day I was at the time where I used to work for Tao Group Hospitality. Tao Group Hospitality wasn't a security company. This was like one of the first times that I wasn't working for a security company. I was working for a hospitality company that owns restaurants and venues. And so I was hired under the security department. So working for Tao Group Hospitality, they have their main restaurant, Tao, and then right next door, they used to have a nightclub on the roof of a hotel.
Wow.
So it was Tao, the restaurant, and then there's a hotel right next to it, and the nightclub is on the roof.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes I worked the nightclub, sometimes I worked the restaurant. Sometimes primarily I was working at the restaurant because at the nightclub, we have a staff of like 15, 20.
Wow.
But at the restaurant, it's just like 2 or 3 of us. But it was crazy because the restaurant had sometimes the same quantity of people as the club. And it's same thing. Drinks are involved. And Tao Group Hospitality, they're known for being a crowd that they have DJs. They're kind of like a party environment back in Vegas. They're very well known in Vegas. There's something called Tao Beach. They have a nightclub. I forget the name.
Is it TAO Tao?
Yeah, TAO.
Oh, I've heard about that. They're pretty good. They have some
Crazy parties.
Yeah, they're well established in Vegas, and they ended up bringing nightlife to Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
At this time, that club that I used to work at next to the restaurant in Hollywood, that club is no longer open. It closed at the beginning of this year.
The one on the top of the hotel?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't have the official reason why because I stopped working before. I stopped working there before they shut down.
Gotcha.
So I don't fully know why. Either maybe money wasn't good or maybe there was just a lot of liability situations going on around there. So I can't provide that answer without potentially being wrong. But I could see why there was potentially some reasons why they closed. Maybe some nights weren't as successful as others. But it was a successful nightclub. A lot of A-listers would go over there for private events, for normal operations. When I was working there, Future, he's a rapper.
Uh-huh.
Future had his birthday party there.
Wow.
And he had like all the rappers and celebrities come. And since I was well trusted with clientele, I was kind of escorting these celebrities inside. I remember walking Travis Scott in, Polo G, like a lot of artists, artists. It was a cool night. But back to your question, as far as the scary stuff, the crazy stuff. As far as the nightclub, we kind of had it under control up there with weapons because they're going through a whole process, like a TSA process with wands, with metal detectors, checking bags. So I would say it was safer at the nightclub than it was sometimes at the restaurant.
Oh, wow.
Because at the restaurant, Tao wanted to continue treating it as a restaurant. They don't want to make it feel like a club where people have to get checked, wanded and stuff. So due to that, sometimes the restaurant was a lot more dangerous because we're not checking for weapons. Mm-hmm. Anyone can conceal something, whether legally, illegally. At the nightclub, it didn't matter if it was legal. If you had all the credentials to carry, we didn't allow it. Because we didn't. Someone could grab a weapon, a guest could grab a weapon, and then all hell breaks loose. But at this restaurant, one day, something that happened and police got involved. It was a night that, like I said, the big team is at the club. It was just me and 2 other guards at max. I didn't have an official leadership role with Tao Group, but I was kind of seen as like a lead there. So there was this one night where a party of like 5, they ate dinner, they had a great time, and they left. They left because they finished. But somebody left a bag, like a man bag,
Wow.
like at the table, and a server. Like I said, I like security because I like being supportive. I like helping people, and so I established that I'm that guy to reach out to if there's a lost and found item, if there's an issue, if someone broke glass. So someone came up to me and said, "Hey Noah, someone left a Gucci bag, a man Gucci bag, at the table, and they gave me the number of the table." So I went over there, I collected the item, and I went on my way to go turn it into lost and found. Usually what we do when we collect a purse or a bag, we do go in it because we're trying to seek identification so that if someone tries to redeem the item, we know that it's theirs.
Gotcha.
So that's why we go into people's personal belongings so that we give the belongings to the right person. So I didn't do that. When I had the item, I took it to the security office. My focus was I need to get back to the restaurant because things happen in like a minute, you know. So really quickly, I grabbed the lost and found item. I took it to the security office. I left it with the supervisors, and I went back to the restaurant. Like a minute later, I get called back, and they tell me, "Hey, Noah, can you report back to the security office over the radio?" And I said, "Copy, I'll be right there." So I go over there to the office, and they tell me, "Hey, Noah, did you look inside the bag?" And I said, "No, I was leaving that to you guys. I wanted to get back over there because it was a busy night." And they're like, "Okay, well, there's a Glock in there. There's a Glock in there. We didn't touch it, but there was a wallet, and we don't see no license to carry, no like CCW, which is a concealed weapon license to carry. So we didn't see none of that. So that was already a big red flag." And right when I was there, and I looked at the bag, and I was like, "Oh shoot, there is a weapon in there." And so while that was happening, a guard that was standing at the front of the restaurant, they called me and they said, "Hey Noah, the person that left their bag is here, and they want to reclaim their property." And you know, me and the supervisors were looking at each other like, "Oh shit," you know, like it's gonna get real right now because we can't give this back to this person. It wouldn't be the responsible thing to do for liability purposes. We couldn't determine that this person legally had this firearm. So due to that, the supervisors and I decided, okay, Noah, you're gonna stay here for like another 5 minutes to stall. We're gonna call PD.
Oh wow!
And so we called PD, and they were only like 2 blocks away. The police station. Luckily, so we called PD. We let them know that we retrieved the lost and found item. We looked inside to seek identification, and we found the firearm. At that time, they said, "Okay, sending a unit on our way." And so I get a call again from the same guy that tells me, "Hey, this guy's here to pick up his property." And he tells me, "Hey, Noah, this guy's getting a bit animated. He wants his stuff." And so I had already been there for 5 minutes. It was we were stalling. So I went back over there without his stuff, and I approached the guy, and I told him, "How you doing, sir? My name's Noah. I'm with the security team. Just letting you know, I turned in your lost and found item. I put it in the security office, but nobody's in there, and the door is locked. I don't have the key." I made this story up because we had a stall, you know?
Yeah.
So I basically created this story so that he could understand, I can't get your stuff right now.
It's not like
you know?
an issue too. It's kind of a good excuse.
Yeah, because it's a good excuse because that lets him know, okay, they don't know what's in the bag, and he had no idea the tactical the tactical, you know, it was like a tactical scenario to stall,
to diffuse him a little bit.
Yeah. So he was very upset. He was like, "No, I need my stuff. You don't understand. I need my stuff." He was like very frustrated, and he was getting verbally aggressive. And so, I tell him, "Okay, I'm gonna go get a supervisor, but just bear with me. They're at the nightclub upstairs next door." And he's like, "Okay, you better hurry up." So I really did, I went back to the office, and I told him, "Hey, he's getting pissed off. You know, like he must be breaking a sweat because he knows he knows what's in the bag.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know that we know, you know? So finally, I let the guard know that was out there reporting when he came back. I said, hey, let me know when PD gets here. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know that there's this lost and found item and that this guy is trying to retrieve it. There was no time to explain. So he, like 2 minutes later, he tells me, hey, Noah, PD has arrived. And I was like, okay, copy that, on my way. Me and the supervisors, we went over there. I was carrying the bag. And right away, without even receiving the bag, I told the guard, hey, point out to PD the owner of this bag. So he did. And as I'm approaching, PD puts this guy in handcuffs. And luckily, this was towards the end of closing the restaurant, so there wasn't a whole lot of people that were seeing this. But this guy, he got detained inside the restaurant. They didn't even escort him out.
They immediately detained him.
They immediately detained him inside the restaurant. I gave the items to the cop, and they took a statement from me. They needed to. I remember the security director then. He was informed on the severity of the situation, so he then came down. And I was the main guy that police wanted to talk to because I was the one who turned in the item. And so, I gave my statement. And then a few minutes later, they confirmed that weapon was traced back stolen. Yeah. So, in that situation, nothing crazy happened, but something could have happened, Yeah. So that was I was proud of the way we handled that. We handled it very well. And, I got a lot of credit for that situation because, we served justice.
For sure.
The weapon, the serial numbers, they traced it back stolen. So, that was the end of that. And that was not a story where crazy stuff happened.
Yeah,
but the potential for that.
That sounds intense.
There.
Just the way you're explaining it, I was on the edge of my seat listening to that. I'm like, what's gonna happen here?
Yeah, And then I have another story of a weapon.
All right, let's hear it. Number 2, let's
go. Number two. This time, This time it was a little worse. It wasn't like we found the lost and found item and there's a weapon in there. This time we have this guy who was spending a lot of money. He was drinking a lot and spending a lot of money, and he was buying drinks for people that he didn't even know at other tables. He was just doing he was doing too much. Yeah. He was doing too much, to say the least. So, but he ended up buying drinks to a table that not only had girls, but I think they're partners, they're men. So a guy got pissed off. Hey, bro, don't.
Why are you sending these over to
yeah,
my girl?
don't. Why are you bringing these drinks to my girl and her friend? So this guy got mad. So the guy that was buying drinks and spending a lot of money, he went like this and was like threatening him. Yeah. Intimidating him, trying to intimidate him. Was like, what's up? I'm gonna do whatever I want. Yeah. And that itself is illegal. That is called brandishing a weapon. That is highly illegal because, you're not supposed to do that. That's not a right thing to do. Try to intimidate someone with a weapon. So he did that, and everything.
You noticed it?
No. Yeah. So all this happened, and we didn't see it yet. I saw that this guy was starting to be a problem with being loud and buying drinks and being a little sloppy. I noticed that, but I think I was not in I was not in the site when he did that with the. But a server, the girl of that group, the girl let a server know, and the server contacted me. So I went over there and I talked to the girl with the guys, and she actually, it was a group behind them. A group behind them saw this guy brandish the weapon. So this girl was scared because she doesn't feel safe. Mm-hmm. She's trying to eat here and have a good time. Yeah. And this guy, he has a weapon.
The guy who had the weapon was the guy who had his girlfriend at the table. or was it the other guy?
He was the buying drinks.
The one who bought the drinks had the weapon. Sorry, I missed that.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
That's who had the
weapon. So
right.
the couple were like, hey man, what are you doing? And then this guy was like, hey, I'm gonna do whatever I want. The guy that was spending a lot of money, and they startled a group next to them. So they let the server know. The server contacted me, and I talked to the girl. I received her little statement on what happened, and she pointed out who it was. And I was like, okay, thank you for letting me know. So when it comes to these kind of situations, you don't handle them on your own. You can't predict how it's gonna turn out. Yeah, how it's gonna turn out, what's gonna happen, what they're gonna do. So you must call for backup. It's not a cowardly thing to do when it comes to working in a hostile environment. When it comes to working in a hostile environment, sometimes it's a numbers game. You have to make sure that you have backup there. And your backup has to be people who you can count on, So I called for backup. There was 2 of my guys that were there at the restaurant with me, and then I called the supervisor, and they all came. This guy that was buying drinks and brandished the weapon, he ended up. Valet was at this restaurant had valet, and usually at the end when you're done eating, when you go and claim your car, it takes a few minutes. And this guy's a regular. I've seen him before. So this guy knew. He knew that he could go to the front, tell the valet, "Hey, go get my car," and then come back inside while they go get his car. So this guy went to go, I was waiting for the full team of backup to come. I was keeping an eye on this guy, and he luckily for us, he left. He went up. He left the restaurant because they were all the way downstairs. He made his way out to go retrieve his car. At this time, I was like, okay, this is great because we don't even have to kick him out. He's already out. We're not gonna let him back in. At this time, we didn't see the weapon, but we were able to see that this guy was becoming a problem.
Got it.
So regardless, we just thought the safe thing to do was not let him back in. So we were kind of like human shields at the front of the door, telling him, "You're not getting in. You're not getting back in." And he was kind of upset. He was like, "Why? Why? What's going on? Why can't I come back in?" And we didn't tell him. We didn't tell him what we know, but we called PD. We called PD behind his back, and then a supervisor told me, "Hey Noah, I need you to take a picture of this guy, but make sure that he can't see you." So I've done this before, and my tactic there is I pretend I'm on the phone.
Yeah,
I have
just
it.
click the side. Of it.
Yeah, exactly. So I set it up to the camera, and I pretend I'm on the phone. And I just take a few because I can't see how the picture is coming out. So I end up taking a few, and I look at him, and I took a really good one of him.
Nice.
And he was pissed that we weren't letting him back in, and he's like, "At least let me go pay the tab." And at this point, we didn't care about the tab.
Yeah.
We didn't want him to come back in, so we weren't letting him back in. His car came. He was pissed off. His car came. He drove away recklessly, made a right, and seconds later we hear gunshots. Yeah, seconds later we hear gunshots, and PD hadn't arrived yet. It all kind of happened so fast, but we made sure to take license plates. We made sure to take pictures of his license plates, description of his car. At the end of the day, I don't know how that story ended.
Yeah.
But I'm almost certain.
You don't even know what happened. But you heard shots from that guy. You're almost certain that it was from that.
Yeah, because we know he made a right, and luckily we went towards there to make sure no one needed any medical assistance or anything, and everything was cool. I don't know what caused it. Maybe he was just shooting in there. I don't know what.
Wow.
But I don't know how that story ended, but I'm almost positive that PD ended up catching up to this guy.
Oh, okay.
And we took
You did the best you could to get him out of there.
We also did the best we could to make sure that he never comes back. We let all the guards that work the restaurant. We made sure that they know how this guy looks.
Oh, he's like, okay, he's on the list. Basically.
Yeah. He's banned basically, and he was a regular. So we were kind of concerned that he'd eventually come back, but luckily he never did. Never did.
Wow.
As far as I'm concerned,
he was a regular too.
Yeah, he was.
Interesting story. That was good.
Yeah. So
no, I mean, geez, those are some good stories.
Yeah, well, I don't think I can process anymore.
I know. Geez.
Those are like the two main ones. With luckily, no one was hurt that I'm aware of.
That's good.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes working in security can be dangerous. You know, so that's why I always recommend. I don't tell my guards or anything, but personally, I recommend that if you're gonna get involved in security and you're gonna work in hostile environments, I recommend you learn some form of martial arts, but an effective one, you know?
Self-defense and stuff like that.
Yeah. So in my case, I like to do Muay Thai. And Muay Thai has given me the confidence to approach certain situations. Maybe I'm not like John Wick, you know? But I know I can defend myself, or I have a way higher advantage than someone who's not trained, you know, in physical combat. Yeah. So I truly highly recommend that if anyone's going to get in this industry, they learn how to defend themselves. Yeah. Not
some form of self-defense.
Yeah, some form of self-defense, but do your research, make sure that it's effective. Yeah. You know
what you're getting into.
Yeah, because Muay Thai, I think it's an excellent sport. UFC fighters, from what I see, they mainly train Muay Thai, MMA, and Jiu-Jitsu. Jiu-Jitsu for the floor stuff, the grappling. Also, a lot of them also learn wrestling. So cool. If anybody was to ask me, what do you consider a great combat sport for self-defense? I would say Muay Thai, MMA, Jiu-Jitsu. I would kind of stay away from boxing because that's just how to defend yourself with your hands. Yeah. But Muay Thai teaches you how to use your elbows, how to use your knees, and how to use them in very diverse ways, you know? Yeah. So I've been doing that since high school, and I love it. I still have my membership. I just need to be more consistent.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. Staying in touch with it.
Yeah.
I like what you said about the numbers thing. I think you offered a lot of great advice through those stories. And honestly, we're gonna close it off now. Yeah. It's been such a great conversation. Hopefully, we can have you back on maybe next season. We can go into even some more stories. But I think you offered some great advice, and those situations you went through, I think, are gonna be so enticing on the podcast. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, you know. And one last thing I want to share as a tip. Sometimes what's very important is de-escalation tactics, and with that you have to learn how to remain calm. Otherwise, you're not going to calm someone else down. That's another very important part of security is knowing how to de-escalate verbally and how to be a professional witness and reporter. Because when it comes to these kind of cases, you need to provide an incident report because who knows, you might end up having to go to court and court will take a few days, a few weeks. Yeah. And you know, if you write an incident report, you don't have to focus so hard on the details because you already made a detailed report, you know? But yeah, I just appreciate you guys having me on here. I'll definitely like to come back. Yeah. You know?
You're more than welcome.
I have more stories.
Yeah. We'll get them going for sure. But everybody, Noah Juarez, thank you so much for coming on. Great week.
And a great week.